if you could tell me how long you're going to live, I could probably get 95% of the way of determining exactly when you should file Social Security. Today, we're going to be highlighting an article around Social Security that comes to us from the Humble Dollar blog.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Which is a very humble article, I might add.
Well,
and it is the 10 reasons to claim, is what it says. 10 reasons to claim is the title. It's really the 10 reasons to claim Social Security right now and not wait anymore.
Well, he kind of goes through these reasons, but when you start dealing with this topic, right, this will humble you. I think that's why it's kind of a funny analogy there, that it is a very complicated topic. There's a lot of unknown variables. Nobody's ever going to know exactly what the perfect retirement filing strategy is going to be, Social Security filing strategy is going to be. So you have to do your homework, make well-reasoned decisions, and then just go with it.
It's unfortunate, right? There are some things in life that I believe that we can figure out exactly what the decision is. We know exactly what the best decision is. Usually these are very tactical decisions. You know, for me, I bought a new snowboard last year. And when I went and bought that new snowboard, I probably did spend 8 hours.
He's like, well, should I be honest here? Yeah, it was a long time. Yeah. I spent like 8 hours.
I spent so long trying to figure out the best snowboard.
I wasn't aware of this. You didn't bring me into this decision.
Oh my gosh, I spent so much time on it. And then when I look at some of the big decisions that I make as a business owner, I go, man, I didn't really think about that at all. And I just kind of pulled the trigger on that one, right? And they can be much bigger decisions with a lot more zeros behind them. And I had this question for Annie Duke, one of our past podcast guests.
Right.
World Series of
Poker. She wrote a great book on decision-making.
Decision-making, yeah. And I had this question for her, and she said, well, she shared some research and studies around what has happened and why this is. And some of the research was around startup companies. A lot of startup companies, they don't do a good job making good decisions because they make them very snap because they feel there's too many variables. They're never going to be able to find the right answer. They just go ahead and make a decision without really doing a good job of considering all the variables. We should be always considering all of those variables, no matter how difficult it is to really nail all those things down. We need to consider them all so that we can at least make a better decision. It may not be a perfect decision, but at least we can make a better decision. And we look at Social Security quite often in the wrong light. We think of it as, well, it's only $1,000 a month. It's only $2,000 a month, you know, but then you have to extrapolate that over time and make that equivalent to a lump sum. You know, $2,000 a month, $24,000 a year. If we use the 4% withdrawal rule approach, that means we need to have $600,000 set aside in order to satisfy that $2,000 a month. If your Social Security is going to be tax-free, then that's like having, say, $800,000 in a traditional IRA, and so it could be over $1 million decision, especially for a couple. And this isn't one that we should take lightly, no matter how many different variables there are. And if you could tell me how long you're going to live, I could probably get 95% of the way of determining exactly when you should file Social Security. We don't know how long you're going to live. We don't know the future of tax rates. We don't know the future of inflation rates. We don't know investment returns. You know, these are all variables that are important and need to be considered. And there's other ones that aren't even mentioned in this article, such as different types of filing strategies that you could be considering as well. All of those things should be considered before you make a decision. And I do believe that John did that. I believe that he considered all of these different factors. And at the end of the day, did he make a good decision? I think he did. And I think he did because it gave him peace of mind.
Yeah, exactly. And you just kind of spoiled the ending for me. But when you have a well thought out reason, you do a reasonable amount of research and you come to a conclusion, like, move on. That's the best part of this is moving on. But he starts out his article by saying that, 4 years ago, he said he was going to claim his Social Security benefits at his full retirement age, which was 66 and 2 months. But then that changed. And I think it's okay, right? You learn more about your strategy as you get into retirement. He changed how he was going to file because of new information, and his gut told him, hey, And how he got to that were these 10 reasons.
Yeah, and I think he kicks off the most obvious one, and that is lifespan, as I mentioned. And he shares that he has challenge genes. Not a single member of his family has made it to age 80 on his mom's side. And this is something that I hear quite often, and I think about it myself because I'm in the same boat. We haven't had a male on my dad's side ever live beyond 78. And I could come to the conclusion that, as many do, well, nobody lived past 78, so I'm going to die at 78, so I should go ahead and file the day. I don't come to that same conclusion. I look at my ancestors, I look at my grandfather and go, this is someone that never worked out in his entire life.
Never exercised.
He's never seen a treadmill, right? And he lived in a different time where we weren't educated about diet, we weren't educated about exercise, we didn't have the same medical technology that we have today. I say there's no way that I am going to not outlive my grandfather unless there is some random act that ends up putting me in the grave early. There is no way that I shouldn't outlive him. I think we have to be cautious with looking at our genetics and our lineage and saying, oh, this is when I'm going to pass because so-and-so passed at this point. I think we have to be careful with that. I think we also have to be careful with only looking at ourselves when we're married.
That was the first thing I thought of was, what about the spouse? Is there a spouse involved? Because you may not have longevity in your genes, but your wife may. And so the higher of the two Social Security benefits is the one that's going to carry on once one spouse passes. So keep in mind that delaying that Social Security benefit not only may help you in the short term, but it may help her in the long term.
That's quite often makes the most sense, and a strategy we'll often use is if two benefits are very close together. Let's say you have two benefits for both $1,200 a month. Well, if one of the two of you passes away, that Social Security income is cut in half. So it's often a good idea to delay one of those benefits so that you do have a higher benefit that is going to go to the surviving spouse, especially once you consider some of those genetic factors and lineage and your own personal health. You want to take all these things into consideration. Number 2, we get to taxes. Number 3, we get to taxes. Number 4, we get to taxes. Number 5, we get to taxes. There's a lot of tax considerations.
Yeah, so understanding a retirement income strategy, first and foremost, do you need the income? And I think that's where I end up with a lot of families that I meet with. Okay, you're retiring at 65. Should you start Social Security or should you delay it? Well, do you need income? Because if you do need income, then to me, that's one of those times where we strongly consider turning on Social Security. But what's the impact of not turning on Social Security? Well, you've got delay, you've got withdrawals from your investment accounts, your 401ks. How does that play into your tax strategy? Are taxes lower today than we think they're going to be in the future? Yeah, we know that there are some tax breaks that are set to expire in 2025, 2026. So maybe we want to take more of those taxable distributions from our IRAs. He talks about capital gains in one instance.
It's about state income taxes.
State
not
taxes,
all states will tax Social Security.
So understanding your state tax situation, but understanding where your tax buckets lie. I think that's the biggest thing here, Casey, when somebody's looking at an income strategy, when they're looking at a Social Security strategy, where are the dollars that you've saved? Are they all in a tax deferred bucket like a 401k or an IRA, or do you have a lot of after-tax dollars? Do you have a lot of Roth dollars? That's going to give you a lot more flexibility in this decision.
If you'd like to take the information that you've gleaned here to the next level, all you have to do is this. Click the link in the description and schedule a 15-minute phone consultation with an advisor on our team where you can get answers to your own unique questions and concerns. Taxes are probably one of the last things that most people consider. They go, oh, I need to think about taxes when it comes to Social Security? I didn't even...
Yeah, I thought it was tax-free.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, but that is one of the things. He decided to take Social Security today and defer, because he had the opportunity to defer IRA distributions into the future. Yeah, and to Marshall's point, I often look at that the other way. It's like, well, this gives us an opportunity. We have a window until required minimum distributions kick in. Let's keep that income as low as possible from, say, sources like Social Security or maybe even deferring a pension, and start doing Roth conversions along the way. So there's different strokes for different folks here. And then we get to, can we skip on down to number 6?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, go on down to number 6. And he said to solve the future Social Security funding shortfall. And you discussed the risks towards Social
It's
Security.
It's kind of like the elephant in the room, right? Like, well, we all know that Social Security is set to have a shortfall, and looking at possible solutions. And that's one thing, Casey. A lot of people go, well, I think they're going to cut benefits, so I might as well start it now.
He talks about, well, one of the things that might happen is Social Security means testing. They're going to reduce Social Security benefits for folks that have higher incomes. And I had this conversation with David Walker recently.
Did you?
We did not have this conversation, I think, specifically on the podcast interview that I did with David, which you can check out on our Facebook page right now before it hits the actual podcast. However, I had him in town for an event, had the opportunity to sit down and talk to him for about an hour about all kinds of different things, from student loan forgiveness to Social Security and Medicare. And we talked about Social Security specifically because this is a question we get all the time. People go, well, I should file now because they're going to change the rules, or they're going to means test, or they're going to tax 100% of my benefits. And he said it's very likely that we see the same thing happen that happened in the past. This isn't the first time that we've had Social Security funding issues.
No, not at all.
And there have been solutions in the past as well. What have those solutions been, and what's the most likely solution? That is that we see an increase in the full retirement age, right? So Social Security full retirement age increases, and it's something that happens over time. Not everybody gets the same date, right? You get something that increases over time, over the coming years, maybe 5 to 10 year progression, that will increase the funding ratio for Social Security. And then you have taxing Social Security. Well, 85% of your Social Security benefits could be taxable today. Make that 100%, and increasing payroll taxes. He said those are the most likely three things. To go and means test Social Security is going to be an incredibly challenging, if not impossible, thing to actually get past. I'm not saying that it's not going to happen, or it couldn't happen, but it's one of the least likely measures that could come into play when it comes to changes to your Social Security.
Because if you think about that, those people paid into benefits their entire working career. Now you're not going to give them back any of those benefits. So I think it's more reasonable to raise the payroll cap, as well as raise the taxation and push out the retirement ages. But as the author mentions here, it might be a ways off. There may be a grandfathering in period where it may not take effect for some additional amount of time down the road before it becomes realistic for that generation.
Yeah, I think for someone that's 5-10 years out from retirement, they don't have to worry about the dramatic changes that today's youth does. Someone that's 40, 50, 60 years from filing for Social Security, their strategy is going to look dramatically different. I do believe that. Number 7, kind of an ancillary benefit, if you ask me. I think, was he stretching for 10 here? Number 7 was Social Security Administration can forever more administer my Medicare premiums. And I guess this kind of goes along with a couple of my favorite ones here, and that is, it's just easier, right? It's nice. It's convenient.
Hit the easy button.
It's mentally freeing, right? And I think that's one of the things that is often underemphasized when you get to retirement is actually using your wealth to have convenience, to have peace of mind at a cost, right? Paying for that peace of mind. And I've seen this with retirees that have said, well, I've got more than enough money to last the rest of my life. I know I could make more money if I put it in the market, but boy, my dad always does this, right? Make me 4 or 5%, don't lose. I know I can take the risk, but I don't want to. I know I could have more money, but I don't want to worry about it anymore. And the same thing goes for renting a home, right? People want to go down. They want to live in Florida in the winter. They go, oh, you know what? We should go buy a home down there. It'll save us money. We can rent it out when we're not there. I go, well, you got the money. You can go out there and just rent, and then you can have more fun, enjoy different properties. Yeah, maybe you would rather own a home, but in most circumstances, I find that I go, it is more convenient, and I guess I worked so hard for convenience that I can spend a little bit of money. And so I guess I'm saying here, I don't think that the Social Security Administration managing your Medicare premiums from deducting those from your Social Security payments should be a core decision-making factor when it comes to when to file for your Social Security benefits, but it is something to consider. Number 8, if I delayed Social Security until age 70 and then subsequently suffered from some major physical deterioration, even if I lived beyond 80, I'd be pretty frustrated. And this makes a lot of sense. And I think this is one of the.
I don't think it does.
I think this is one of the biggest arguments that retirees make for taking Social Security early. They go, well, I'm 62, so from 62 to 70, am I going to enjoy having more money today, or am I going to enjoy having more money from 70 to 80?
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy it more today,
Okay.
so I'm just going to go ahead and take it. If I go ahead and file today, and if I delay till 70, then I get sick and I can't enjoy the extra income at all, then I'm going to be pretty frustrated. I think that makes a lot of sense, and I think it's a valid argument.
Well, I thought you were going to go with the break even. He talks about the break even point at 80 or 82. I love the comments in this article. Sometimes the comments are more entertaining than the article actually is. And there were some very thoughtful comments. And one of them says, and I'll give him credit, I love his username. It's My Time to Travel. So My Time to Travel says, I remain puzzled by the concern I keep seeing about breaking even. If I waited until 70 to get the largest possible annuity income, and if I knew I would drop dead tomorrow, it would not bother me in the slightest that I did not break even. I would appreciate the larger payments I enjoyed while I was alive. And somebody follows it up, R. Quinn follows it up with exactly right. What matters is getting the income you need when you need it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, what's more important? What's more important than income in retirement? Having it when you need it. And I think we just quite often, and I think there is, we need to take this decision seriously.
Seriously,
we need to take it seriously.
Don't you make a quick decision.
But number 9 says what, and I think this is the best reason for maybe not for just filing, but
claiming
for actually, maybe not for just claiming, but for actually making a decision.
Yeah,
okay? Actually
absolutely.
making a decision. You said, now I can move on from this debate. Yeah. Frankly, that just feels good.
Yeah, feels good. You made a decision. One of the comments that I highlighted down in the bottom was from an individual, Mike in L.A., and Mike in L.A. says, any reasoned decision is likely a good one. This was well-reasoned, so don't second-guess yourself. I love that, right? That's gold to me. Take some time, think through it, speak with your spouse, talk about your concerns. I tell families this all the time. I can tell you what the math and the science says. We can run the Social Security optimizer, and it probably is going to tell one of you to delay till 70. But if in your heart of hearts, you don't want to delay Social Security till 70, you want to spend down more of your own, or you'd rather not spend down more of your own nest egg just to wait and delay Social Security, then take that decision off the table, make a choice, make it well-reasoned, and sleep well at night.
Well, and to use another one of the decision-making heuristics from Andy Duke, I think this is a decision that should be time-boxed. In order to get it done, time-box this decision. Say, all right, by the end of 6 months from now, or by 2024, put a specific time and date to a decision like this, so you don't find yourself continuing to go around and talk to different advisors, talk to different friends and family members, and spend time on Google and continue to question these things. Just make a decision. And time boxing is a great way to make sure you make it in a good amount of time.
So I want to read you one more comment. So they talk about full retirement age, right? And somebody makes the comment like, what is this full retirement age? Like, give me a break. I want to retire at 62 or 61. So the definition of full retirement age is a little misleading, right? That may not be the perfect retirement age for every individual. This Jack McHugh says, FRA, or full retirement age, should be considered opening day of the Social Security bonus rewards round, when the benefits of waiting start to really add up. I love that. The bonus round. You're into the bonus round once you hit FRA.
I like it. So the bottom line is here, weigh everything. Make sure you make a good decision. Don't take it lightly. But at the end of the day, make a decision and move on so that you can focus on where life's actually happening today.